Welcome to News Channel 8. I'm Essie Gaston Edwards in for Junior Garcia. Here are some of the stories we have for you tonight. Special session to approve the operating agreement of Hovensa, Golden Grove Prison on lockdown, and Veterans Day ceremony. These stories and more up next on News Channel 8.
I Trade Earth brings you News Channel 8, a Puerto Rico and Virgin Islands-based approach to economic development and the global marketplace, one small business at a time. Call 866-396-8278 for more information or look at us on as seen on channel8.com for I Trade Earth.
In our top story, the 30th legislature was called into special session today to ratify and approve the operating agreement by and among the government of the USVI and Atlantic Basin Refining Holdings, LLC. Let's go to the hearing.
If they never are successful in restarting the refinery, and they ultimately then start operating as a terminal to fund the deconstruction as it is the agreement is constructed, they will be paying $30 million to the general fund every year, and there is no 10-year reduced payments. They will also be paying $10 million per year into the fund immediately as soon as they go into breach, if they have not restarted the refinery. And so at that point, if that's 3 years in, and from 3 years to the end of the 22 base year term, at the end of the base term, there would be $190 million that will be put in, that will accrue interest, and ultimately, if that money with the interest is enough to deconstruct the entire facility before the end of the term, the government can give the notice and say, we don't want a terminal anymore. I'm giving you your 3 years notice. At the end of that 3 years, you need to take it back to a truck rack and facilities. And so there's a significant penalty if they do not operate as a refinery, because ultimately this agreement forces them and really compels them to operate as a refinery and penalizes them with significant payments.
In order for this to really work, Mr. Herr, don't we really need to let the oil storage the facility be a gateway from the foreign market into the U.S. market?
Sorry.
I mean, how can we, if I may, Mr. Chair, how can we really allow oil from the United States to pass right through the Gulf, to bypass Gulf Coast refineries sitting idle, ship it all the way to St. Croix, and then refine it, and then ship it back to the same market? Now, when we take oil from a different place, like Venezuela, let's say, or anywhere else, it touches St. Croix and magically becomes U.S. oil. That's the power of the territories, and we're not using it. So how can I, as a senator, believe that this deal is really about running a real oil refinery with a real business plan, which we haven't seen, when you're not even using your strongest asset? It'd be like a man wanting to marry a woman and not telling her he was rich or a good lover or really loved her a lot. He wouldn't tell her all of his assets. He'd play it down. He'd say, well, I'd take you. I'd take you. That's no kind of man. That's no kind of deal. This is a marriage between the people of the Virgin Islands and a facility, and you're not even going to use your best assets to run this refinery. And that's why I think that you really don't intend to run a refinery. I think you want to pull one of those 5 ripcords and settle easily to earth, allowing the plane to fly away with Hovensa in it, free and clear.
In other news, the Golden Grove facility is on a modified lockdown status, which permits inmates to perform work duties and attend classes, as well as facilitates visitation, after an incident resulted in an assault of an officer by 2 detainees. Wilson said, per the report filed, the officer assigned to the lockdown unit was supervising the recreation of detainee Shaquan Prentice. During the course of the recreation period, the detainee informed the officer that another detainee, Wang Elaraza, was requesting his assistance. The officer traveled to detainee Elaraza's cell to inquire about his needs and was attacked via the food slot. The officer was then attacked by detainee Prentice with a stick, which struck him in the right temple. While losing his balance, the cell keys dropped from his possession and were retrieved by detainee Prentice, who then opened the cell doors of the other detainee cells. An officer from the adjacent unit heard the disturbance and immediately assisted the assaulted officer by helping him out of the unit to safety, locked the unit, and a call was made additionally for backup. The director added, the detainees were let out of their cells, lit mattresses on fire, and flooded the unit, which at this time was filled with smoke. Upon arrival of reinforcements to the unit, visibility was hindered. Via tactical protocols, the situation was quelled. The leaders of the fracas were identified as well as several instigators, which included Prentice, Elaraza, and 4 others. GGACF's medical personnel were immediately on the scene to assess any injuries to the officer and detainees. The assaulted officer and detainees, Pedro Davis, Ali Benjamin, and Nkosi Paris, were then taken to the emergency room at the Wang F. Louis Hospital for further assessment and have all been released, Director Wilson said. The 9 Alpha unit is a segregation unit that houses detainees that consistently fail to follow the rules of the institution. There were a total of 16 detainees housed at the time of the incident, and only 6 of the 16 were found to be involved in the disturbance. Detainee Shaquan Prentice was arrested for assault, and detainees Benjamin and Paris have been transferred to the Criminal Justice Complex on St. Thomas pending the outcome of this ongoing investigation. The officer is said to be in satisfactory condition but is on leave seeking further medical attention. Now here's your Crime Stoppers report. Everyone needs to speak up. If you know something, say something. St. Croix, at the request of the father, this cold case is re-released. Musa Raji Sharmouj, age 19, was reported missing by his family on Thursday, April 9, 2011. Last seen by family members on or about April 6, 2011. Mr. Sharmouj, of Middle Eastern descent, is about 5'11" tall, has hazel eyes, black short hair with sideburns, and a beard. He was last seen in the area of Consumers Gas Station. If you know the whereabouts of Mr. Sharmouj, have seen him, or have information regarding his disappearance, please contact Crime Stoppers. According to the father, one of the suspects, jailed for another crime, was recently transferred to a U.S. prison. The father is hoping that since the suspect is no longer on St. Croix, perhaps someone who knows something will say something. St. Thomas, another cold case on Monday, April 14, 2014 at 10:01 p.m. A 20-year-old male identified as Jaquan Morel and an 18-year-old female identified as Tequana Petty were driving on the Anna's Retreat roadway, which overlooks the Tutu high-rise housing community, when they were fired upon by unknown assailants. Tequana Petty's lifeless body was found in the vehicle by the police. Jaquan Morel, who was also found in the vehicle, succumbed to his injuries while being treated at the Roy Lester Schneider emergency room. Both Morel and Petty sustained gunshot wounds to the body. If you have information about this incident, please contact the Major Crime Unit at 340-774-2211, extensions 5617, 5618, or 5619. St. John, on Wednesday, October 22, 2014, at about 11 a.m., officers in Coral Bay were approached by a male citizen who requested to file a report about stolen items. He stated that a wooden storage shed he and a friend owned was burglarized sometime between late June or early July 2014 and October 19, 2014. When he returned to check it, removed from the shed were some tools and a Polaris all-terrain vehicle as shown in the attached photo. Be a part of the solution. Contact Crime Stoppers at www.crimestoppersusvi.org or 1-800-222-TIPS. That's 1-800-222-8477. Or text USVI plus your message to crime. That's 274637. And this was your weekly Crime Stoppers report. Stay with us. We have more news right after this break.
This is News Channel 8. This is News Channel 8.
Welcome back to News Channel 8. Veterans were honored across the territory Tuesday with parades and recognition for Veterans Day.
I'm happy today to say welcome to this great event that we have all waited for every year. A time when we continue to say thank you to the members of our armed forces who, under no stress or coerce from anyone, raised their right hand and swore to obey, protect, and defend the laws and rights of every citizen of this great nation. With this, America has made it possible to provide for every American who has served this nation honorable. The Office of Veterans Affairs has made it possible to assist all veterans in the territory in obtaining those services. We have been meeting with other veterans groups to promote the services due our veterans. We have partnered with the Methodist Outreach Training Services, Survivors Outreach Services, Disabled American Veterans, American Legion District 10, the Veterans Benefit Administration, Veterans Health Administration, and other local entities that serve veterans. We have worked hard to get our veterans the services needed by going to the Veterans Administration to make sure we're not left behind.
It gives me great pleasure to join in with the other commemorative partner members as we honor veterans of the Vietnam War for their service and sacrifice on behalf of the United States, and especially the U.S. Virgin Islands, and to thank and honor the families of these Vietnam veterans this Veterans Day. The real heroes of that war were the men and women who gave all, who gave their lives, and those also who were severely wounded. The other folks who were real heroes were the family who sent their sons, daughters, husband, and wife after war and live every day with the anxiety of losing them. The reason our focus is on Vietnam veterans is because they were treated poorly and were not welcome home. So we cover the veteran no matter what conflict or war they were from. We welcome them home.
This year, we paid homage to our Vietnam-era veterans. To many of us, the Vietnam era was nothing more than what we read in books and the remembrances of those that lost their loved ones, and for many, what we saw on television. The reality of war, in many cases, comes to us on CNN, Fox News, or on C-SPAN. Each and every day, all of us have a chance to know exactly what we're experiencing because of those that gave in honor for us. From our electoral process to the fact that we can disagree and agree, to the fact that we as U.S. citizens have a chance to express ourselves, helps us to understand those that have sacrificed. Whether from 18 years old to 65 years old, they embraced an idea and said that they were willing to step forward. And each year we have a chance to tell them thank you, whether it's on Memorial Day or as today on Veterans Day. So as we close out 2014, we move to a newer chapter. It is only fitting that we take an opportunity to think of those who served, to say thank you to those that are with us, and for the families to remember those that are in your minds and within your souls. As this is my last opportunity to stand as governor as part of a very auspicious occasion, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for those that are in the ROTC, to those that are Legionnaires. I want to say thank you for those that are serving, to those who are in our reserves. And most importantly, I want to say thank you to our community for recognizing that we must accept and we must embrace and we must empower and we must say thank you to our veterans. because that's what makes us a strong community, and that's what makes us the United States Virgin Islands.
Don't touch that remote. We have more news straight ahead.
This newscast has been sponsored by Mario's Virgin Crystal. Let us save you the hassle of lugging those jugs around. Purified bottled water conveniently delivered to your home or office. Also available in your favorite grocery store. Call 773-2810.
This is News Channel 8. This is News Channel 8.
And finally, here is the Senior Medicaid Patrol talking about Medicaid fraud.
My name is Faustina Richardson. We're here this morning with the Senior Medicare Patrol program. We're trying to talk to Medicare beneficiaries, caregivers, family members on how to prevent fraud, waste, and abuse in Medicare. This program was started in 2005 in the Virgin Islands, and we're here at Canigata today trying to talk to seniors who come through here to get their flu shots today. There's a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse of the Medicare program, and the program is currently in jeopardy because of the fraud and abuse. We're here to talk to Medicare beneficiaries, caregivers, and family members on how to protect themselves and the Medicare program against fraud, waste, and abuse. With me today are three of my volunteers, Ms. Janet Phillips on my left, Anita Gaspard on my right, and Veronica Blackwood. These volunteers work with us tirelessly, and without them, the program is not a success. We really appreciate them. We have been finding some fraud in the Virgin Islands. What's happening here, you know, we are really a very small community, and the patients here, you know, they have one physician for years and years, and they really look up to their physician, but we try to talk to them to make sure they're able to read their Medicare summary notice. When they get the summary notice from Medicare, make sure they understand what's on it. The biographical data, the dates they had service, and we want them to make sure that there are no services there that they did not receive that Medicare is paying for. We are located in the Department of Human Services, Golden Rock. Our number is 713-3701. And right now, we're in the process of recruiting new volunteers. So if you want to volunteer with this SMP program, please call us. My name is Faustina Richardson, 713-3701.
My name is Anita Gaspard. I'm a volunteer with the Senior Medicaid Patrol program for the past 2 years. It's very rewarding. I'm able to talk to senior Medicare recipients about this program because it's a lot of fraud that is going on in the Medicaid program. And I would like that when I come to that age that the program will still be there for myself and also for my grandchildren and children. So we are looking for more volunteers to come on board. All those who are retired, we will be looking for the more volunteers to assist us in this program. It's very informative, and as long as you come and ask questions, there's a number that you can call, which is 713-3701. And there's never a stupid question. Ask questions, and you're knowledgeable about things when you ask questions. So it's very informative. Come on out. If you have a question, call the number, and we are glad to assist you in any way whatsoever. Sometimes it's fraud, sometimes it will be a mistake, but you will never know unless you call that number. So let us be aware of what we're doing, because knowledge is power, and the more you read, the more power you have to be able to assist yourself in anything that comes around.
Your weather report is up next.
Your weather, coming up next. Your weather.
And now here's your 5-day weather report.
Tonight, isolated showers after 8 p.m. Mostly clear with the low around 76. East-northeast wind 10 to 14 miles per hour. Chance of precipitation is 20%. Thursday, isolated showers. Sunny with the high near 87. East wind 8 to 11 miles per hour. Chance of precipitation is 20%. On Thursday night, scattered showers, partly cloudy with the low around 77. East-northeast wind around 11 miles per hour. Chance of precipitation is 40%. New precipitation amounts between a tenth and quarter of an inch possible. On Friday, scattered showers, mainly before noon. Mostly sunny with a high near 86. East wind around 11 miles per hour. Chance of precipitation is 40%. New precipitation amounts of less than a tenth of an inch possible. And on Friday night, scattered showers, partly cloudy with a low around 77. East wind around 14 miles per hour. Chance of precipitation is 40%. New precipitation amounts of less than a tenth of an inch possible. This is Cheryl Francis with your Channel 8 News Weather.
And that concludes the news broadcast we have for you this evening. From all of us here at News Channel 8, I'm Essie Gaston Edwards. World News is up next. Thank you for joining us, and good night.
I Trade Earth brings you News Channel 8, a Puerto Rico and Virgin Islands-based approach to economic development and the global marketplace. One small business at a time. Call 866-396-8278 for more information or look at us on as seen on channel8.com for I Trade Earth.